Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Eamon. There it is, Bell 2 Lighthouse, standing right on the edge of the cliff there. You can see just how close it is. And there are cracks, Eamon, in the cliff and all along this area. In fact, I just stepped over this wire here and was told by a local to get back because this whole area is undercut and could simply fall at any moment. We are really, really close to the edge here. Now, but let's put this into perspective. Beachy Head is over in the distance. You can see the lighthouse flashing there. You can see that rock fall 50 foot by 500 feet. See how close it is to the lighthouse. Now, that is symptomatic of what is happening to Britain's coastline at the moment. The fact is that 1998 was the warmest year on record, and that global warming has resulted in the sea level rising, tides and waves are much higher, and we've got a lot of warm, wet weather, and that is very bad news indeed for the coastline. Let's take a look at those areas in Britain that are worst affected. We're talking about 1.5 million properties and around 2.5 million people who are likely to lose their homes. The coastline is being eaten away at a rate of around 3 feet a year, so very fast indeed, and very bad news indeed for Mark and Louise Roberts of Bell 2 Lighthouse. They stand to lose everything. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Now, first of all, I know that last year in November you were in your beds asleep and you heard an enormous roar, enormous crash. What happened exactly, Louise?
Well, we just got up and it was a beautiful morning like this, and we just heard a big rumble of thunder and thought the cliff's going. We jumped in the car with the baby and the dog, and ended up down the bottom of the hill until it had all gone quiet.
Now, that just was presumably the start of the problems, because after Beachy Head you must be very concerned indeed, Mark.
It is. It highlights the importance of what we're trying to do in saving the lighthouse and how quickly we must do it. It is a battle against time. It's a war we're staging against nature at the moment to who's going to reclaim the building first.
Now, Eamon, we should explain to you that what is happening here is the lighthouse is literally going to be dragged back from the cliff edge. It's a huge, complex task. Louise, briefly, can you explain to me what are you going to do here?
Well, basically we are underpinning the whole building, and then it will be jacked up as one and pushed back 17 metres.
Dragged right back. You can see in the distance, perhaps we can take a look at the builders are there already. This is planned for March the 12th, I understand, and you're putting the lighthouse a few feet behind, but is that really 60 feet, I think, is actually being dragged back? Is that really going to make a difference?
Well, it is, because the fall at Beachy Head is the largest fall that has ever experienced in Britain. We've had a major fall here of about 30-35 feet a couple of weeks ago, saying that the building will be able to move again. All the engineering they're putting in place is remaining for a future move. So this is the first of many moves for the lighthouse.
But I know that it's cost you £180,000. Is it really worth all that money, do you think?
The building's older than Eastbourne. It's listed. I personally say yes, it is. It's the only one that's lived in England, and it's worth saving. And the general public are as well, because they have been so wonderful with all their support.
Now, meanwhile, you're not living in the lighthouse. You're living elsewhere. I presume you're a little concerned about living in the lighthouse itself.
Yes, we had to move out for obvious reasons, because we're worried about if there is another fall, we wouldn't want to be in the building then. So we're living locally, because there's such a local community here. They've sort of opened up their arms to help us, which is wonderful, really. OK,
let's take one more look at that. Just over you can see on just how close the lighthouse is to the cliff edge. I've tried to go right up to it, but Eamon, I don't think it's worth it. But at least Bell 2 Lighthouse will be saved, and that may not be the case for other properties in Britain.
No, absolutely not. So, Lucy, that probably buys Louise and Mark there maybe 20 years, 60 feet, according to your calculations, maybe an average of 20 years.
Longer, actually, Eamon. The engineer that I spoke to this morning, the man who's actually will be pulling this building back, he says that it should guarantee the lighthouse for the next 100 years. But that, of course, is dependent on, in fact, how quickly that erosion occurs. Yeah.
I suppose Louise, Mark and little baby there are known locally as the Lighthouse family.
They are, indeed. Eamon, I should just say, Bell 2 is made famous because it starred in the TV series The Life and Loves of a She-Devil.
Oh, really? Lucy, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, and don't go too close to the edge there. Thank you very much indeed.
No,
Lucy Vandenbril there at Beachy Head in Sussex. It is very spectacular, very awesome there when you look at that rock fall. I don't know about gorgeous, but